Hello, my name is Sally Baker. Welcome to Education in Our Community. Today I'm going to be interviewing a very special lady, and her name is Jodi Sanders. She works in the corporate offices of Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta, Georgia. So I know we're going to have an interesting interview. Hello there, Jodi.
Hi, Miss Sally.
How are you today?
I'm fabulous, thank you.
I'm so glad you could come and let me interview you.
Yes.
I've heard so many wonderful things about you.
Thank you.
So let's start out.
Sure.
Tell us about your background in media. How did you get interested in media?
So when I was younger, I didn't grow up so great. I grew up very low end and not poverty, but it was a little rough. Typical babysitters putting you in front of the television type of thing.
Yes.
So what I found as a child was a lot of my education was coming from the television. So what I wanted to do was kind of change what children were being fed or what even the world was being fed. So the knowledge of knowing what's out there was extremely important. But being told the right information and being fed the knowledge, to be successful was important. So that's kind of where my peak of interest for media came from, was very young. But I lead from a very humanitarian heart. So for me, giving back was always very important too. When I found myself in Berkeley, after moving myself from Seattle, I moved myself to Berkeley at 19 years old, and I found Berkeley Community Media a few years later. And what they stand for and what they did at the time, and their civil rights and their, faith, and what they stand for as far as for the community and being one with the community, and not hiding anything and having those difficult conversations that people were doing, and they were doing it without being paid for it. They were doing it out of the kindness of their own heart, and they're doing it to feed the masses, or even just the Berkeley and California area, more knowledge and understanding and wealth of knowledge. And I just thought that was amazing. So Berkeley immediately became my home, and I found mentors. I was taken under the wing of Bryn Boyle, who now I'm proud to call her family, and Ed Broussard, who's one of the most amazing people I've ever met, and Miss Mickey, who proves to be, very strong-willed woman. These are the people that I like to look up to, and I still come back to show my gratitude for. And that's how we got started.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, tell me, what were some of the things you learned for the first time here at Berkeley Community Media?
The first thing was community. Community was in the title, and I was taught by Bryn that it's important to not only just think of yourself and take care of yourself, but also to take care of the community around you, because they also feed you as well. As much as you want to sometimes go and hide and be a hermit or be an introvert, it's really important to feed those around you and have them, you guys, I'm trying to find the words, but it's important to kind of band together and have an understanding of taking care of one another, so that we can all succeed and we can all move forward and we can all be a success or a level of success. But we can't do that without one another. You can't do that alone in this world. So that's probably the first lesson I learned here, which was a valuable one. And I've taken that with me my whole career. And then also just the ins and outs of production. I ended up going to San Francisco State.
Good.
And I got my bachelor's in film. But they didn't teach me nearly and I love San Francisco State, don't get me wrong. But I was taught more at Berkeley Community Media,
yes,
in my career. Because you can it's hands-on and it's interactive, and you're being taught by people that aren't working, they're volunteering their time.
Yes.
So there's no politics behind it, there's no ulterior motives behind it, they just want you to be great.
Great.
So that's
a melting pot here. People from all over the world.
Yes.
That's the thing that I like. Whether they're children or teenagers or adults or seniors.
Yes.
Everybody's involved here at Berkeley Community Media.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
All nationalities, all genders, all races, everything.
That's right.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Now tell us about your educational background at San Francisco State.
Yes, I did. I did 4 years. I got my bachelor's in film. San Francisco State has a program called the BECA program, Broadcast Electronic Communication Arts, and that program in general is being revamped actually as we speak, and they're getting new equipment in and all of that from what I hear. But when I was there, we were being taught by people, you know, in the business, been in the business for a long time. But one thing they stressed was getting out there and really putting in the work. You can only stay in the book so much with production. It's very important to get the experience. So I took that, you know, to heart. I was put into a program for people that to go down to Los Angeles, speak with mentors in the business, the other alumni. And I went down there and I met with, coincidentally, I met with the director of Dr. Phil.
Good.
And I asked her, are you accepting any interns? You know, I had, at this point in my life, I was in my early 30s. I had become the vice president of the board at Berkeley Community Media, worked up from an intern.
Great.
But I knew there was just more, and I knew I needed more experience, and I needed to put myself out there. So I just went for it, and I just asked her, do you need an intern? Even though I had more experience, one might say, than an intern, I knew the importance of being humble and starting from the bottom again. And that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
And that's what I did. And she said, well, you know, I don't know, but it's so, you know, that's so bold of you to ask. And I was like, well, you know, closed mouths don't get fed.
That's right.
And the next day, my teacher got a call and she said, I really like that young lady that asked about the internship. I would love to offer her one next season. And so that's how it kind of all started. And the next season rolled around. I didn't hear from anyone. I thought it had, you know, I didn't know what to do. So I ended up searching and searching and searching through multiple emails between my teachers and her, finding an email, emailing them myself and saying, hey, I'm still here. Can I still come? You know, and they were like, absolutely. You know, so I stopped right then and there. I packed and I moved to LA and I stayed in a beautiful couple's house. I rented a room and I just went for it.
Isn't that great? How far did you live from the studio?
So they were at Paramount, Dr. Phil was at Paramount Studios, so I was in Inglewood. So it was probably a good half an hour living from the studio.
So you had to take the bus or?
No, I had my little car at the time.
You had your little car, okay.
Yep, we went down there and
oh.
Yep, I put everything in storage and yep. I mean, you have to take chances in life and that's
right.
what.
That you did.
Yeah, but for me, following your intuition was the best thing, you know, what I could do. I'm led by my faith and my intuition, and I just went for it.
What did you like best about working with Dr. Phil?
Dr. Phil is not, they know in the industry not to be an easy place to work for.
Oh, really?
The content that he used to do was very rough and very heavy, you know, so it wasn't easy, but you learn a lot. I think what my favorite thing from working with Dr. Phil is his work ethic and his ability to get things done and keep pushing forward. And I learned, I think, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with learning bad lessons, you know, that turn into good lessons. So I went through a lot of just growing pains there.
Growing pains.
But looking back, they were essential for my growth.
Good, good.
So, you know, I would say the tough moments I see now as learning moments, and I take those, and, you know, life is what you make it. That's what Ed Broussard just told me.
Yeah.
Life is what you make it, and why see the negative when you see the positive?
Positive, yes.
So I think, and then at the end of Dr. Phil, I became the executive production coordinator. I was very close with the executive producer, and I became kind of woven into the fabric on each individual departments and everybody, and I found community there, and I built it there. And when I left, they threw me a beautiful party, and they were very happy for me. And I said, this is what community building community is about. Right back to my roots in Berkeley. So it all just ties back, yeah.
Isn't this wonderful? Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Now let's see what else here. Now tell us about your work at the Tyler Perry show.
So I was given the opportunity to come work with Tyler Perry, and it was an easy yes. I packed up. I got Dr. Phil's blessing, and I packed up, quite literally, and I packed everything up, and I sold everything, and moved within 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
And yep, I'd lived in California almost 20 years, and I'm a West Coast girl for sure.
Oh, yes.
But, you know, I had been to Atlanta before. I really liked the people there. I did a project out there. I was working for Dr. Phil's production company doing field producing. And I did a project out there, and I came back just ranting and raving how much I loved Atlanta. And the person I was ranting and raving to, little did I know, had a direct connection to Tyler Perry's team. They were looking to fill a position, and she recommended me. Next thing you know, I'm getting a call to take an interview, and I was like, yep, absolutely.
See how
Absolutely.
fate goes. See, if you're
Yep.
prepared and you're ready, and the opportunity comes, grab it.
Exactly.
Don't let it get away.
Yeah, and make sure what you're doing is lining up with your own individual vision and morals and values in life, you know. And Tyler Perry and I share a lot of the same vision and morals and values, so I knew it was just a no-brainer. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I knew that it was needed. And again, the fate and the universe and whatever you want to call it, in my opinion, God led me.
Yes.
With the instincts, the faith, and all of that, and that's what it takes to, you know, in this industry, you start over a lot of the times, few times, you know.
A few times, yes.
You know, it was always L.A. and New York, L.A. and New York, and maybe even London. But Atlanta has become such a hub now. So now it's Atlanta, LA, or New York. So now it's part of the, you know, so, and Tyler Perry's to thank for a lot of that, and he's the reason for it. So I knew getting in on a little bit on the ground floor where I felt like a pioneer that matched also with my spirit and my goals. So, you know, and back to Berkeley Community Media, that is what it's about. It's about pioneering. It's about giving back. It's about, you know, and he's been able to do that on a grander scale that I've ever seen before. So it was a no-brainer. So
that's great.
And I work with him directly. I work in his corporate offices, and working with him on a daily basis has been nothing short of an absolute dream come true. He's not for the faint of heart. The man is a genius. He's very, very, you know, cut and dry, and knows what he wants and goes for it. And there's no spirit of confusion about any of this. It's 1, 2, 3, X, Y, Z. This is what we're doing,
and we do it.
This is what we're doing, you know. And but it all comes from a place of love, and he comes from a place of wanting to make change in the African American community.
Yes.
And my godparents were African American, and I've grown up with, you know, quite a few people in my life that I hold very dear. So that community I hold very dear. So for me, giving back is very important.
Yes.
To any culture, but, you know, for me, that specifically rings true to my spirit. Yeah.
Now, you told me about a project that Mr. Perry's doing with African American women who were in World War II, is it?
Yes.
Could you touch on that a little bit?
Yes. So Mr. Perry was given the opportunity to meet one of the eldest members of the 6th 888 Battalion, led by Captain Charity Adams. She was the African American woman who became a captain in World War II for the United States Army, and that's unheard of in those times. And she was a Spitfire, and she took the opportunity when it was handed to her to make an all-women battalion, and it was primarily all African American women, and they were set to do the impossible, which was sort through millions and millions and millions of pieces of mail at the time that got lost during World War II. So the morale of the troops and the morale of their family members was all going down, and it was really important that she kind of take this on and on her own. And they ended up doing the impossible and really kind of getting buried in history. And that's a story that Mr. Perry wanted to enlighten and show, the strength of women and the strength of African American women, and what they had to come up against, and how they easily could have all backed down and said no. Or walked away, but
Yes.
they didn't, and they rose to the challenge. And it's just a beautiful story. Miss Carrie Washington is the star. She plays Charity Adams, along with quite a few other Melena Jackson. Sorry, we'll edit that.
That's all right.
Melena Jackson. She plays alongside her. She's a beautiful soul, beautiful woman. These are beautiful African American actresses that are able to kind of walk into these roles. So you can imagine how spiritual that is for them too.
Yes.
And kind of walking in their ancestors' shoes. It's very, very powerful. And that'll come out next year, 2024. So
And what's the name of it?
it's called 6888.
6888.
Yes.
Wonderful. Now, how many women are going to be in it?
There's quite a few. There's quite a few, but don't quote me.
The stars. Okay.
Don't quote me, but it's
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite a few.
Well, speaking of that, my cousin got the Medal of Honor from President Clinton back in 1997. He was the only living soldier of the 6 that got the award.
Wow.
He had to wait 53 years in order to get the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Wow.
And so I got to go to the White House when President Clinton presented the Congressional Medal of Honor to him.
Wow.
So I know how long African American soldiers had to wait to be recognized for their bravery.
Exactly.
And so his bravery in World War II.
Exactly.
Yes,
I wish
yes.
Miss Charity Adams was still alive to had seen it, but I'm sure she's seen it from above. So.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
Now let's see here. Let's talk about your friends here at Berkeley Community Media, the 3 that really inspired you and helped you and lifted you up.
Yes, yes. So Bryn Boyle was who, I think as soon as I walked through the door, she was there with her smiling face.
Yes.
She's who I like to call an earth angel.
Yes, she
She's
is.
just one of the sweetest, kindest. She's a spitfire too. Don't get it.
I know
don't
she
get it
is.
wrong.
I've known her
But-
for several years.
But she has a almost like a tapping into a different spiritual realm that I've never seen in my life. And she's able to, her instincts are spot on. There's days where I'm working 16 hours, and Bryn will text me out of nowhere, and they text me exactly a beautiful inspirational quote out of nowhere that just lifts my spirit. She just knows she's spot on. But
yes.
that's, she took me under her wing and, was like, absolutely, you can be my intern, and taught me everything that she knew and introduced me to Ed and Mickey. And Ed is a fabulous director, and Mickey's a wonderful producer. Actually, I think Mickey does almost everything.
Yes.
She's directs, produce, sound, audio, lights. It
She's
doesn't
Girl
matter.
Friday.
Yes, she'll take off her many layers of clothing and
Yes.
cover a light if it needs to be lit. So
I know.
she's amazing. Everybody here is amazing. Melanie,
Oh yes, Melanie.
who
She's
heads
a doll,
Berkeley.
too. Yes.
Dave's been with us for quite some time.
Dave's an angel too.
Dave
yes.
was with us when he when I was on the board too.
Right,
So it's been a while. But because of their sacrifice, because when you don't do anything for money and it's done because of passion
And love.
you don't find that
No.
anywhere.
No, not in the corporate world.
Not in the corporate world, and not in a lot of any world. A
Yes.
lot of, we're going into a new age where, you see wars pop up out of nowhere, and you see terrible things happening to people.
Yes, yes.
And for me, this was kind of a full circle moment to come and give back to my community, and and just let them know how grateful I am.
Yes.
For their kindness, because it's kept me going.
Yes.
Because I've seen very evil and negative sides of Hollywood, and a lot of it's unfortunate what people do to each other.
Yes.
And the egos and the things that you see.
Oh yes.
So to have people around that just do it because they love to do it,
It's wonderful.
that's a beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful
We've both
thing.
been blessed that we've been able to work with people like this, and learn and grow.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Now, is there anything else you'd like to put out to the community? Do you like working with children?
Yeah, so when I was at Dr. Phil, I had the intern department.
Okay.
And that was one of the most satisfying things I could have done. I led them with love, understanding, knowledge, but also, you know, with a hard fist to make sure that they, you know, stayed in line. They're young kids, you know,
Yes.
so just like I did, I need to be molded. Young kids need to be molded in the way of what to expect.
Right.
What are the expectations? What do I expect from you? People need an outline. People need a guide,
Right.
you know, to follow.
Yes.
So I knew because of how hard it is in the industry and how hard it was at Phil, because the content, it's not for everyone. So sometimes you have those emotional breakdowns. So I was there for them in every way, from emotional to being their mentors to, and I'm just happy to say that almost every single one of my old interns are doing great things.
Yes.
And I was able to take from what I've learned to give to them
Give
and
to
to
them.
pass on.
Yes.
So that's what I absolutely just loved with the internship program. And that's what I want to keep doing.
Good.
And just keep putting good messages out there and just, you know, keep making the change you want to see happen in this world.
That's right.
And because media is so very powerful, it's extremely important to keep good within it, no matter how hard it gets at times. Because just like with any industry, it can go by the forces of good and evil. But I think with our industry, because we're able to influence so many, it's very important to keep that code of ethic.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Well, I like working with children. I've been producing my show called We Poets for 40 years.
Wow.
And I interview children, elementary school children, and they read their poetry. I interview them, and then we train interns, and high school kids.
Yeah.
And so I've seen the kids grow up. And now they have children,
Yeah.
and I've interviewed some of their children.
Wow.
So it goes around. What goes around
Yes.
comes around.
That's
you know?
right, that's
yes.
right.
And I like interviewing adults like you too, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
But
No, I
children
love
are
the
my
younger.
favorite, I think,
agree.
to interview.
I
Yes.
agree. I agree. They say the darndest things. I love.
Oh, don't they?
Yeah,
though?
yeah.
Yes.
No, I love to see where their brains are.
Yes.
You know, but it's important that we learn from the children.
Children,
Yeah,
yes.
they can teach us so much. I
That's
absolutely
right.
agree.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I think I like them more often than to hang around.
Yes.
Because they just teach me so much. I love them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything else you'd like to put out before we end our interview?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you to Berkeley Community Media. Thank you to Ed and Mickey and Bryn and everybody here. And nobody's ever forgotten. I get busy, you know.
But you never forget them.
No, we've got a lot of projects coming up. But
good.
what they've done in my life has been very important. And I just want to say, you know, for anyone that's struggling with deciding what you want to do in life, just let your heart be your guide. Honestly, I know that sounds so cliche, but if you truly, truly let your heart be your guide and you truly lead by your instincts and what you love to do, you can never go wrong. Don't ever follow the money, follow your heart.
That's right.
If you
Money
follow the
isn't
money,
everything.
you'll be sadly mistaken,
Yeah,
trust me.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And for women, what advice do you give to women today?
Oh wow! I think we are on the precipice of some serious movement from women, and I think it's just important to stay strong and keep uplifting one another. The moment you tear each other down, whether it's in your gender or your ethnicity, the moment you tear each other down, that's where you lose your power.
Right.
So women have to always stick together, stay together. But also know the importance of uplifting masculinity too, and not breaking the other down either. It's very important. Yeah.
Well, thank you so very much. This has been a
Thank
wonderful
you.
interview,
Thank you.
and I'm so proud of you, all the wonderful things you've done and going to do.
Yes, going to do.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And would you like to come back here to Berkeley Community Media and teach a class?
Maybe one day definitely, absolutely. It'll be probably related more with politics. What not to say.
What not to say.
How to say things and also say what you can do versus what you can't do.
That's right.
I like to teach a class about that.
What was your favorite class that you took over at San Francisco State?
Editing is always, I started my love for film from actually editing. I like to piece together the story and put art and music behind it. I love to pair video and music together. I think that's amazing.
Do you play a musical instrument?
I don't, but I love live bands and stuff like that. That is my thing. Yeah, I like anything that's naturally done by the heart and the passion from someone. So editing was my love, and then I love directing too, and I fell into producing because I just have natural skill set in organization and all that. That's what I primarily do at Tyler Perry Studios, is a ton of organizing on a very high level.
On a very high level.
Yes, on his level.
Sometimes it's very stressful, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, because he's very much. I mean, it's hard to keep up with the genius, but he keeps me on my toes.
Well, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
Good. And how about your coworkers? Are they from all backgrounds?
Yeah, actually, a lot of my coworkers are from all different backgrounds, but Atlanta's primarily African American,
Yes.
which I love. It was very heartwarming to see so many people striving there.
Yes.
But it's not. Atlanta is growing, and the South is trying its hardest. I think. It's getting more and more diverse as the time goes on. But like I said, I'm kind of in the ground floor, so my it reflects as such. But it's becoming becoming more and more diverse, which I'm loving. I'm seeing a lot more. Yeah.
Good.
People come in. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's good.
Well, thank you so very much. It's been a wonderful interview, and we've learned so much.
Thank you.
I'm just so proud of you, of all the wonderful things you've done, and you've been a good role model for children and teenagers and adults, and for seniors.
Yes.
Yes.
That's my favorite,
Yes.
favorite
Yes.
group. The
Well,
wisdom, loving wisdom.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
Well, I hope you have a wonderful, safe trip back home. How long will it take you to fly back to Atlanta?
Probably about a good 5 hours.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, are you going to sleep on the plane or work on the plane?
Oh, I'm definitely working.
Working.
It's the morning time, so I got to make sure I'm working. Yep.
And what's the time difference between California and Georgia?
It's 3 hours time difference.
3 hours time difference.
Yeah. But when you travel back and forth, so much, you just roll with it.
You roll
I
with
think
it,
your
huh?
body just gets up. My body just gets up when the sun gets up and goes to bed, no matter what time zone I'm in. When I was in London, it was the same way. When the sun's up, I'm up.
Yes.
So yeah.
Do you get to travel abroad quite a bit?
It just depends on the project. But I was in London for personal use. I saved up and took my mom. It was always her dream.
How nice.
So I saved up and took her out there, and and it was a dream of a lifetime, and to give back to her. She was a single mother, so that was the least I could do.
Yes. London's an interesting city, isn't it?
Yeah, I love London. Oh, I loved it. I loved England.
I got to work there for a few months, but it rained all the time. The only thing I didn't like about London was the rain and the cold,
Yeah. I love the sun.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to love everything. I love it all. I love the beach and the sun and the sand, and then I love the cold and the dreary and the and the brick and the romantic feeling, and just turning it from negative to positive. It's not dreary, it's romantic.
Any other countries that you traveled to?
I've been to Sweden, thanks to Mr. Perry. I've been to Sweden. I've been to Mexico recently. I've been to Canada. And we're going to just keep knocking these countries out. Next year, I want to hit all of Europe, not all, but a few, Amsterdam and Switzerland and Germany and and maybe Italy for my birthday. But
when's your birthday?
In April.
In April?
Yeah, I'm a true Aries, through and through.
Well, that's good. Well, I liked Europe. I've been to Europe, I think, 4 times.
Yeah.
And all the countries are all so different, and the people are so wonderful.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
I didn't run into any prejudice while I was there, which I really liked.
Our country's young.
Yes.
So we'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
And we're turning corners a lot, so that's a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to you, and I'm
such
so
a
proud of you.
It's been a blessing to talk to you and everything you've done and accomplished as well.
Well, thank you.
And you're going to be honored here, I hear, shortly as
well.
Yes,
I think so.
So that's a beautiful thing, and you should be very
you.
proud of yourself.
Thank you very
giving back
much.
to the young people is what we all should strive to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Sally.
I want to thank you so much for watching. My name is Sally Baker. I've been interviewing Miss Jodi Sanders, and we did a wonderful interview. She's a very outstanding woman. And again, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.